It doesn't matter whether we're black or white, Latino, Asian American, or Native American. It doesn't matter whether we're straight or gay. We're one people, we're one family, we're one house. We all live in the same house. That when you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have to stand up, speak out.
He is truly a fighter and has demonstrated to be one of the greatest fighters of our time.
Our children and their children will ask us, what did you do? We have a mission and a mandate to be on the right side of history.
Tonight, the world remembers Congressman John Lewis, known to many as a titan in the struggle against racial discrimination. Here in Atlanta right now, mourners surround the John Lewis mural on Auburn Avenue. And CBS 46 is live in Selma, Alabama at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where several activists met with violence in 1965 as they marched from Montgomery to Selma. The day became known as Bloody Sunday. Also, team coverage at the state capitol, where the race to fill John Lewis's seat begins. Flags are at half-staff at the Capitol and buildings across Washington, D.C. to honor the life of Congressman John Lewis. And Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms responding to the news of Lewis's passing. In a tweet, Mayor Bottoms calls the congressman the most humble of heroes, went on to say how he loved unconditionally and called upon all of us to be a better version of ourselves. Civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, paying tribute to Congressman Lewis as well.
John Lewis was the last of the Big Six. He was the last one to speak at the march. And many of you that have been with us remember in 2013 we did the 50th anniversary National Action Network, and John Lewis and C.T. Vivian was there with us.
Congressman Lewis was 80 years old when he passed. Tonight, CBS 46 reflects on his life and the impact he had on the fight for equality. Here's CBS 46 anchor Karen Breer.
John Lewis wasn't afraid of battle. Nearly his entire life was dedicated to some kind of fight.
We the Negro citizens of Dallas County.
A crusade to redefine America's moral fiber.
I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give in.
Lewis became synonymous with the civil rights movement in the 1960s. He was arrested at least 40 times and had his skull cracked during the Selma to Montgomery march.
It is not easy to be beaten and suffer the blows, some of the criticism to be beaten on that bridge in Selma. And I think about it, but it been worth the struggle.
He went on to represent Georgia's 5th congressional district for more than 30 years.
So I've said many times to the young people back in Georgia and around America that when you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you have to stand up, speak out.
Lewis described his battle against stage 4 pancreatic cancer as a rival like none he'd ever faced. He lost the good fight at 80 years old, surrounded by his family. He was the last survivor of the Big Six civil rights activists, once led by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
He is truly a fighter and has demonstrated to be one of the greatest fighters of our time. My father certainly would be very proud of the light that he illuminates throughout our nation and world, and the consciousness that he brings.
Our children and their children will ask us, what did you do? What did you say? We have a mission and a mandate to be on the right side of history.
Lewis, the son of sharecroppers, was born in Troy, Alabama in 1940, the third of 10 children. Longtime friend and fellow civil rights activist, former Atlanta Mayor and Ambassador Andrew Young said his incomparable spirit
We cannot give up now.
will be missed, but not forgotten.
Keep our eyes on the prize.
He's one of the strongest, most determined, God-ordained people I know.
The time for silence and patience is long gone.
And he's been that way since he was a teenager.
Lewis founded the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, but caught national attention when he led hundreds of protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, in Selma, Alabama. That was 1965.
We've become comfortable believing in the impossible.
Undeterred by armed police officers, Lewis was knocked to the ground and beaten in what became known as Bloody Sunday. The televised images forced Americans to pay attention to racial inequality like never before.
And John led that march when everybody thought it was kind of a waste of time and that we ought to give up. But he's not one who gives up.
After turning to politics in the 1980s, Lewis continued to push for equality and remained active in his last years, calling for gun reform and supporting the Black Lives Matter protests. In 2011, Lewis was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama and remained true to his vision to carry on fighting for justice for all.
It really doesn't matter whether we're black or white, Hispanic, Asian American, or Native American. We're one people. So let's hang in there, work hard, and do what we must do.
Lewis is survived by his only child, son John Miles Lewis.
I thought I was going to down this bridge. But somehow, in some way, God Almighty kept me here. Yeah.